Hey guys, today is March 19th, and we're going to begin with our writer's lesson for today, which is how do I start my fairy tale with a bang, right? I want to make sure that my introduction is super engaging. So I'm going to start by sharing our learning intentions for today. So 1 second while I pull that up. So right now you should be able to see our slides, and it should say Writer's Workshop. Make sure you take out your Writer's Workshop notebook so that you're ready to start and get everything you need so that we can have a successful writing lesson. So our learning intention for today. Today, writers, we're going to learn how to start our fairy tales with a bang by trying out 3 different engaging introductions, utilizing either onomatopoeia, say it with me, onomatopoeia, descriptive language to describe the setting, or dialogue. These are 3 different strategies that we know very well, and we're just going to deepen it, and we're going to just get better with our writing. And our success criteria, by the end of this lesson, I can choose an engaging introduction. So I'm going to ask you to experiment with all 3 and figure out like which one fits the best into your story, or which one do you like the most. And then language intention for today. I say things like, I chose to begin my fairy tale with because And our social intention, it's going to be the same for these next 2 weeks, but I do my work even when no one is looking, right? So you're always doing the work. I want to highlight one student. I think it was Ashley Garcia. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it is. She sent me an email last night, and her story is fire. Like, it is amazing. Probably in the next lesson, I'll share what she wrote, but she's basically written her whole fairy tale. So if you're one of those students who's already written the whole fairy tale, every lesson from this point on is just to make your fairy tale even richer and even better. And she even typed it. So remember that you still should have, you have access to your Google Drive. So you can just make a new document, you can share it with me, and work from there. And I can go in and I can add comments. Another student who sent me something was Saudi. She sent me her spelling words, the colorful ones for your spelling packet. And it's just another way for you to like interact with us. Again, even though Ms. Alonso and Ms. Delgado are not making this video, you can share your writing with them as well, sending it to their email. So we're gonna start. Let's look at our recipe card for today. Number 1, as we always do, good writers, like my brother, always rereads anything he has, right? Like anything he's written so far, he goes back and he rereads. The same for me. Whenever I write something, I always go back and I think to myself, is this my best writing? So number 1, I'm gonna reread my fairy tale. And number 2, I'm gonna look at my introduction specifically, and I'm gonna think to myself, like, how can I start with a bang, right? So I'm gonna go back to a few slides from a few days ago. I'm gonna go back to my introduction, what I have so far. Okay, so again, I'm gonna reread. Once upon a time, there was a very cute, fluffy cat. She had gray fur and deep green eyes. Her name was Catarella, and she lived with her papa cat in a mansion. Catarella and her papa were very happy living together. She was a great daughter. She helped keep the litter box clean and hunted with her papa cat for little rodents like gerbils and mice. Papa cat loved Catarella very much, but he longed for a wife to help him raise Catarella. He felt very lonely. One day at the grocery store, he met Meanie. Meanie was a very beautiful, tall, white Persian cat, but she was very wicked. Papa cat had no idea she was evil. Minnie was also a mama cat. She had 2 very spoiled kittens named Zoe and Chloe. After a few dates at the movie theater and at the beach, Papa Cat and Minnie married. Minnie and her daughters moved into the mansion. That's when things went really wrong for Catarella. When Papa Cat wasn't looking, Minnie and her 2 daughters would be very mean to Catarella. They would poop in Catarella's litter box and not clean up after themselves. Zoe would steal her favorite mouse toy. Chloe would sleep on her favorite pillow. Catarella would mysteriously find white long hairs on her favorite dresses in her closet. Catarella would cry at night, meowing softly into her pillow, wondering why her father had chosen to marry Meanie. Despite their wickedness, she remained kind to them. So I like my introduction. I like the beginning of my story so far, but there were some changes I wanted to make. And I know, like, once upon a time is typically how fairy tales start, but guys, it's a little boring. A lot of fairy tales start that way, so that's not starting with a bang. I'm gonna look at my recipe card again, and I'm thinking, experiment with 3 different types of introductions. Onomatopoeia, which we already know, it's like sounds, right? Like it has to do with like sounds that imitate like an animal, like what an animal says, or like in nature. And then descriptive language, describing the setting with a lot of detail and dialogue. These are all 3 strategies we've done before. And then I'm looking at my step number 4. I'm gonna have to choose one introduction and add it to my fairy tale. Okay, so I'm gonna show you, I did my homework before making the video. I tried all 3, and it took me a long time, but I loved doing it because it just allowed me to really think to myself, which strategy do I really want to use? So I'm going to show you, I'm going to read each one, and you can, in the comment section on YouTube, tell me which strategy you liked more. Like, did you like onomatopoeia more, or did you like how I described the setting or the dialogue? I am going to end up choosing one that I really like, but I would like to hear what your opinion is, of course, because that's always fun. So for onomatopoeia, I wrote, chirp, chirp, sparrow sang as Catarilla tended to her white roses in her garden. Catarilla was a very beautiful gray cat with a thick coat and lovely eyes the color of emeralds. Catarilla had lost her mother as a child to sickness, and she lived with her papa cat in a 2-story brick house in Manhattan, New York. She was a good daughter. She cleaned all of the litter boxes and made mouth-watering meals for her papa, like rat stew and fish soup. However, Papa Cat was lonely and he longed to have a wife again. When you long for something, you really want it. Okay, so that's onomatopoeia. Why? Because I started with the sound a bird makes, which is a sparrow. A sparrow is a type of bird. I started with chirp, chirp. I like it. It's a good introduction. There's even more detail in there. I can really envision it. I'm making a mental movie in my head. But let's look at the second one, descriptive language to describe the setting. I'm trying to use as many juicy words as possible. I really want my reader to paint a movie in their head with this strategy. So listen up. The sun was high in the sky, and pink clouds lingered over Catarilla's 2-story brick house in Manhattan, New York. Sparrows sang, perched on honey locust trees. Butterflies fluttered their brightly colored wings as Catarilla sang in her garden, pruning her white roses. Catarilla was a very beautiful gray cat with a thick coat and lovely eyes the color of emeralds. Catarilla had lost her mother as a child to sickness, and she lived with her papa cat. She was a good daughter. She cleaned all of the litter boxes and made mouth-watering meals for her papa, like rat stew and fish soup. However, Papa Cat was lonely and he longed to have a wife again. So my introduction here, I'm describing the setting. The sun is high in the sky. There's some pink clouds over the house. We have some really pretty butterflies. I even looked up different trees in New York. Honey locust trees are very popular there, very, very beautiful. And so there's a lot of description going on. I really like that one as well. And then lastly, we know all about dialogue. Catarilla, come in here, dear. Please help me bring in the groceries. Catarilla finished pruning the last white rose in her garden and replied, coming, Papa. Catarilla was a very beautiful gray cat with a thick coat and lovely eyes the color of emeralds. Catarilla had lost her mother as a child to sickness, and she lived with her papa cat. She was a good daughter. She cleaned all of the litter boxes and made mouth-watering meals for her papa, like rat stew and fish soup. However, Papa Cat was lonely and he longed to have a wife again. So I tried all 3 different strategies, and if I go back to my recipe card, my step number 4 is I have to choose one introduction and add it to my fairy tale. And I love onomatopoeia. I really like dialogue, but I really love descriptive language and juicy words, and I think I like the second one the most. But as you guys experiment, you might like onomatopoeia more for your story as your intro, or you might like dialogue a little bit more for your intro. Try it and see which one fits the best. So that's your job right now, is that you're going to try this all on your own. Even if you have your introduction already, reread it. Think to yourself, can I try onomatopoeia for an intro? Can I do descriptive language for an intro? Can I do dialogue? Try all 3. I really want you to push yourself. Try all 3 and then make your decision. Which one am I going to start with? Remember, on your YouTube comment section for my video, you can say, hey, Ms. Maldonado, I really liked onomatopoeia, or your descriptive language, or your dialogue, and then you can say which one you're going to choose for your story. See you in the next video.